Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be. I want to welcome you to joining us for our post-pandemic Future of Workspace Strategy series. Today, we are excited to be joined by Adam Dean and Joy Boese of E3 Consulting. So much of what we've talked about up to this point has been in preparation of getting back into the workplace. Getting back into the office. Today, we're going to talk about an office and a workplace that's really familiar to all of us. It's our home. And the folks at E3 have been working with companies to create ergonomic environments and workspace. And I can imagine, I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that they're busier than ever. Guys, was anybody prepared for this? I mean, I know I wasn't. I know I didn't have an ergonomic office set up. I still don't, and that's what we're going to talk to a little bit about today. But how are you guys doing?
We're doing really well. Thanks for asking, Rick.
That's great. I know that as we move through this pandemic, one thing that's crystallizing is the fact that regardless of when we get back to the physical workspace as we knew it before and the degree to which that space looks like anything similar to what we knew before, working from home is absolutely going to be a predominant way to work for just about everybody to some degree. What's E3 doing to help people through that process?
The first thing that we developed for our clients are what we call simple ergo tips, or what we call work from home setups or strategies. And these are cards that we're customizing for our clients. We provide their logo, their email, their contact, and it's simple things to help the employees at home know how to set up their workspace, such as knowing how to properly adjust their chair, the depths of the chair if they can make the chair adjustable depth-wise, how to angle their body, how to position their wrist, and what height work they should be placing, whether it's their monitor, laptop, or iPad. And the number one question myself and my consultants always are asked, what is the best work environment? Where should I go throughout my day? And what we're encouraging people to do is actually vary, if possible, their work environments. Maybe start at a desk or a dining room table and migrate to a counter or bar height table. And then eventually maybe sit in a chair or a sofa for a very short period of time. But good ergonomics, actually, we encourage movement. We don't want people to be sediment and set in a static posture. We want them to move and change their body frequently. And these are just some simple tips that we would provide during what we call a virtual assessment, which I'll discuss in a few minutes. But we try to educate people to try to look at their current work environment and see if they have any simple tools such as monitor risers, books, folders, binders, things that they could elevate their laptops, their keyboards, their mice. And you could see in all four different settings, a lot of these same tools can be used in a variety of work environments. A lot of times what our clients will request is education, such as those tip cards I showed you earlier. Or they will require what we call a 10-minute virtual check-in. This is really the opportunity for an employee from their home office to talk to one of our expert virtual ergonomic consultants, or what we call virtual coaches. Just checking in with them, getting feedback of how their current setup is, what we could do to provide them educational tools, or try to use the tools they have at their home to make them more comfortable. And a lot of our customers now that we're in month 3 are asking to set up what they're calling a work from home program. So we're trying to currently put together processes, flow charts, and programs to help assist clients in understanding what this new reality looks like. A lot of my clients that are both public and private sectors are actually considering keeping 30 to 50% of their workforce home in the next couple of months. And they envision that may become the new trend come 2021. So now, more than ever, is the time to have companies set up a roadmap, figure out a way of what this new transition is going to look like. So we set up the tip cards, the training, the virtual check-ins. We're also working with companies like Unisource to set up online what we call ergo playbooks or ergo equipment to allow employees to have an opportunity after they've had a virtual assessment to be able to get equipment that's recommended for their body type and for their work environment. And a couple of other things we're providing is we have a 24-hour software system called ErgoTrack Pro, which I developed 3 years ago. And on the software, we had what we called work from home training videos that I consolidated that now my clients can actually download onto their internet and view at any time. We've also created what we call virtual dashboards and data to help the clients decide who's being seen, which regions are being seen, and what they're spending on a weekly or daily time frame. And also, too, we've been fortunate to partner with safety experts. I have industrial hygienists that work for me that help support the COVID, what we call COVID initiative for some of our bigger clients to help them get their new space prepared for when people do return to work. We have people now called COVID-19 coordinators. They're actually become the key components to bringing people back into this new work environment and educating and providing the training and necessary tools. So this landscape has dramatically changed. And I'm honored that our team has been so diligent in being able to change and be so completely agile through this transition. And, you know, Rick, since we have you on the line, we'd love to do a virtual evaluation for you. I actually have Adam Dean, one of my senior ergonomic consultants, on the call with us today. And if you have a few minutes, we'd like to share with you what we do.
My time is yours. Anything you can do to help me, I'd appreciate.
Thanks, Rick. It's a pleasure to be here today and a pleasure to conduct this ergo evaluation on you today as well. So we are going to reduce your unwanted discomfort and fatigue while working from home. So that kind of leads me to my next question. So are you experiencing any discomfort or have any questions or concerns about working from home?
Well, nothing hurts really bad, but I don't seem to ever be quite as comfortable as I'd like to be.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So as we know, the home office is not equipped with some of the ergonomic tools that we use in our physical office space. And it's no doubt that you may be feeling some fatigue or even discomfort.
I mean, I'm not using the comfortable ergonomic chair that I have in my office.
Yeah,
my office is makeshift to say the least right now. I think you've got a photo of it.
Yep, we do have a photo of it, and you know, it's actually very common. Most of the evaluations we are seeing with our clients don't have those tools. They don't have the ergo chairs that they've had at the office. But that being said, I mean, there are some helpful common household items that can facilitate more optimal postures, and that'll reduce your fatigue and discomfort. So there's always a plus side to this. So let's go over the 3 areas for improvement within a home office workstation. So first off, we want to take a look at the chair, the keyboard, mouse, and the monitor adjustments. So Rick, I did take a peek at your photo, and you are a laptop user, which we'll touch on in just a moment. But as you can see here, we have in our don't section, we can see that we're having some forward lean postures, sort of right here where there's a rounded back. Sometimes we'll even see folks kind of scoot out of their chair to access the keyboard and mouse. And there's pretty common and easy ways to fix this. So we'll go ahead and jump to the next screen here. And you can see just with a few common household items such as books, we can elevate our laptop, if we're working on a laptop, to a much more comfortable viewing height. We can also utilize external keyboards and mice to get us into a better position to key and mouse, and making sure that we have a 90-degree angle at our elbow when using the keyboard and mouse. Also too, we want to take a look at how we are seated in the chair. So in this example, we do have an office chair, and we want to make sure it's adjusted to where our hips are slightly higher than our knees, and our feet are flat on the floor or firmly supported by a surface. It could be a footrest, it could be just the ground itself. And a lot of times, if your feet aren't supported on the floor, we can always utilize a footrest like a shoebox or a couple of reams of paper. So did you have any questions or concerns so far, Rick?
Well, you know, one of the things that kind of struck me as interesting, one of I think the challenges I had a couple months ago when we were first starting this out was was, finding a home base, finding a place that I could kind of plant as my, go-to office. Found myself moving around my house, trying to, um, find the most comfortable place to work. And what I'm hearing you say is that we should be looking at our homes as a kind of an activity-based workspace, similar to the way offices have more recently been designed, where you're not sedentary, you're not just sitting in one place, you're moving around and working in an environment that suits the activity that you're working on at that time.
Absolutely. You kind of hit the nail on the head there. I think the biggest benefit to working from home is that dynamic nature where we can work from, whether it's the couch, the dining room table, the kitchen countertop, and we can move within, seconds really to work from those environments. And that does really help alleviate some of the discomfort and fatigue that's being built up from being in static positions. Even if we're in such a great ergonomic posture and great ergonomic setup that we have at home, it can still create that fatigue and discomfort just because our body is meant to move. And so we ultimately want to utilize other areas of our home as temporary workstations. So let me give you some examples of what that may look like. And we'll go over some do's and don'ts as well of these different environments. So as you can see here, we are working from the couch or the sofa. And this may be necessarily a don't, and because we can see that our back really isn't supported here and our hips are actually lower than our knees. So this can create some unwanted back discomfort. And so what we do to fix this, it's very easy. Rick, do you actually have any pillows on your sofa?
Yes, I do.
Perfect. Most people do. And so what we can do is actually just utilize those pillows and place them behind us and underneath us to create that added support. And so once again, you can kind of see a much better posture just in this photo versus the one we just showed. I've also added some books underneath the laptop to allow me to key and mouse in a more comfortable position and also help my neck not bend as much to view the monitor.
So you guys aren't recommending just laying on the couch with your laptop on your stomach?
Hey, as long as it's not for a long period of time, I don't mind it. We've actually seen it happen before too. Yep. So our next example is going to be working from a kitchen countertop. And this is kind of our built-in sit to stand workstation, right? We can now stand while we're working, similar to how we were doing in the office. However, there are some do's and don'ts here since we don't have that height adjustability that we did at our office. And so you'll see, since I'm a taller individual, I am straining my neck and I am straining my wrist in order to access the laptop that I'm using. And you can see that from the angle here with the bent wrist, and then also my neck going to be bent as well. Okay. So what we've done is we've simply elevated the laptop and elevated the keyboard and mouse with books to therefore get me at a much more comfortable keying and mousing height and a much more comfortable viewing height. Okay.
That's great.
Do you have any questions, Rick?
The question I'd have is how much time should somebody spend at these kind of different postures, whether sitting at a desk or standing? Is there a rule of thumb?
That's actually a great question. So what we're recommending is really anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes at any of these alternative workstations, and then utilize our primary workstation for, up to an hour at a time.
Sounds good.
Perfect. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and jump over to the photo that you provided me. All right. So we can see here that, Rick, you are working from a dining room table kind of setup with a dining room chair. And you can see now that your back is not necessarily supported, and we're kind of leaning out of our chair and perching out of our chair. And so we really want to make sure, and I think the biggest improvement we can make is just making sure we're sitting in the chair properly. And so by adding those pillows behind us, maybe even some pillows below us, we can get the added support that the chair may not be providing you. Also too, that may actually help with the keying and mousing scenario where, you'll be at a much more comfortable keying and mousing height. And then if possible, we can use an external keyboard and mouse with some books added to your laptop to get you to a much more comfortable viewing height for the laptop monitor.
Yeah, sometimes I actually use a couple of different laptops. In fact, the one I'm using right now, just for this webinar, is elevated on top of a thesaurus,
Awesome.
so
Yep.
that I can look up fancy words, but also it helps with just kind of providing the screen at the right height for a web meeting.
Absolutely. And like I said, I think with laptops, it does get very difficult when just working off of the laptop itself, just because of that, the keyboard and the monitor are connected to each other. And so you'll either be at a good keying and mousing height and distance, but then the monitor may be a little too close and you may be bending your neck. So I think it's very important to separate the two. So utilize that external keyboard and mouse. So that way we can be at the correct keying and mousing height and distance, as well as viewing the monitor from a comfortable viewing height and distance.
As companies are, in a lot of cases, are providing credits or stipends, or allowing their employees to go out and purchase things tools to make their spaces much more comfortable and ergonomic. What are the key elements that you would recommend that people go out and acquire?
That's a great question, Rick. I think really what it comes down to is nothing fancy. We don't want our end users going and purchasing very high-end expensive items. We can really just recommend them making sure that they have an external keyboard and mouse. Just a standard one works. They're quite inexpensive. And that generally is going to be the biggest help within our workspace when we're working from home. Just so that if we are laptop based, we can separate the the laptop and the keyboard and mouse.
Great.
So after these adjustments are made, E3 would like you to test out your new recommendations for 1 to 2 weeks. That's what we recommend with all of our clients. After which E3 can perform a follow-up virtual ergonomics check-in to ensure that you are practicing the recommended material, as well as ensuring that your discomfort or any fatigue that you've really had has subsided. So we look forward to hearing from you soon, Rick.
Yeah, I'll follow up with you guys and make sure I'm doing this stuff right.
Love it. Perfect.
So E3 is really all about integrating our staff. This is another one of my senior ergonomic consultants, Alexis, that is actually showing employees what are some simple stretches they could do from home. The next stretch is one that we always encourage people to just start off in the morning, maybe during a lunch break or in the evening. It's simply placing your hand over your head, slowly holding the stretch for 15 to 30 seconds, and then repeating that same stretch throughout the day. I tell people that most people don't realize, but we're actually what we call computer or workplace athletes. Working from home, we need to prepare our bodies before we start working on a laptop or a monitor or a keyboard. And so we really encourage our customers and employees to begin a stretching program, something very simple that they could do, even during what we call a micro break, which is every 30 minutes, we're encouraging people, like Adam mentioned, to get up and move, or maybe do a simple stretch or exercise, such as what Alexis is showing you in this screen. So we have about 15 other stretches and exercises, very similar format, that we could send to you as a PDF at no cost. This is one of my favorite, Rick, the 20-20-20 rule. Every 20 minutes, we encourage you to take a 20-second break and look at an object 20 feet away. What this will help you do is it'll actually help incorporate time for your eyes to recover from glaring at what we call a light source, which is the computer. A lot of times people don't realize, but when they're on the computer, their blink rate decreases dramatically. And it's why they start to notice eye fatigue and eye soreness and potential headaches. So the 20-20 rule is a wonderful way to give them an opportunity to close their eyes, relax on an object, and then go back to work. Next slide, please.
That's really interesting, Joy. I think a lot of times when we think about ergonomic practices, we go automatically to, maintaining the postures in our back, in our arms, avoiding carpal tunnel and things like that. It seems like there's a direct link between ergonomic practice and decreasing stress.
Absolutely. I mean, people don't realize, but lighting is one of the components of good ergonomic factors. So in other words, when we talk about how do people feel, how do they work, having the proper lighting, the proper temperature in their room, the proper air quality, all those things impact them at the end of the day and how they feel. And most people don't realize, but lighting, as we all gradually get older, we need 3 times as much light in our 40s than we did in our 20s. So a lot of people that may be working in these dark environments, they're in the 40 to over 40 group, don't realize, but they may not have enough light to see.
One of the biggest challenges I've had as I work through my activity-based home/office is finding my glasses.
Absolutely. And that's very common. A lot also too in corporate America today, a lot of big complaints people have is just too much light in some of these work settings. And I feel that working from home, you have a little bit more control over the light levels and the technology of where it's placed. You know, you never want to have a light source directly above a monitor because it creates a tremendous amount of glare on a computer screen, which creates what we call eye strain. So it's important to position your light source parallel to your computer. And if you do have a light source, such as light coming from outside your window, you may want to be mindful of closing the blinds or the shades when that light source becomes very strong. So a lot of our customers are asking us to create what they call a work from home program. And to really start off the correct way, we have clients that are asking us to keep track of our time, what it was like when we were in the office. Now they're asking us to create a schedule called a COVID tracking system, if you could believe that. They want to know how their people are working at home and where the discomfort, concerns, costs are coming from. So what E3 has done is we've taken our current software platform and created what we call a work from home platform. We're allowing our customers to see where the requests are coming from. As you can see in the bottom kind of graph, we have them go through a quick 5-minute survey. And it's a survey that they complete at their home online. And it actually sends a link to the consultant prior to the virtual assessment to understand a little bit more about the employee and some of the challenges they're having from work. So we get really great real-time data that people like Adam are better prepared prior to the call. We're also able to track when the request came in. We track when the on-site or virtual report was conducted. And we also track what the employee's overall risk score may be as it relates to their work from home environment. As well as we're able to put the data in, like you mentioned about the stipend. A lot of our customers are saying, hey, listen, we have stipends anywhere from $100 up to $1,000. And E3, we don't know how to spend that money wisely. And we need to track who's getting these purchases and where's this equipment going. So we didn't realize this, but as we were building this platform, it became a work from home tracker system that's allowing facility managers and HR to track how people are getting to us, how we're making modifications in their work from home office, and keeping track of their spend. So at the end of the year, they have real data and real numbers of what it's cost them as an organization to support the work from home efforts.
That's a great tool for companies to actually engage with their employees, take more of a proactive stance in making sure that employee satisfaction is optimal even when employees are working from home.
Absolutely. You know, caring goes a long way, especially in this environment today. When people are talking to our consultants around the world, they're just fortunate and so happy their employer's taken the time to allow to have that virtual coach. And we're excited. You know, we learn every day from everyone we complete. And we're really excited to be a part of this new initiative.
Is there a way to quantify the link between ergonomic practice, employee comfort, and productivity?
You know, most of our programs have been built around what we call those KPIs. And what we tend to do is we try to find out what the client's three-year history is, whether it is workers' comp or work-related injuries, medical costs, absenteeism, and we look over 3 years what the trends are. And we tend to focus on the areas where there's the highest risk or highest exposure. And that's where we normally start. A lot of times our customers renew our contracts because we have reduced their overall spend in workers' comp, absenteeism, and medical costs. And we can actually see a decrease over a period of anywhere from a year to 3 years. Also, interesting enough, through the preventative measures such as education and training, as we start to work closely with companies like Unisource in designing work environments that improve productivity and comfort, you start to see a decrease in workers' comp, medical claims, and absenteeisms because you're actually designing environments around them correctly the first time. So most customers see a slight spike at the beginning when an ergonomic program may start, but as you start to develop a program that has a very clear roadmap, education, resources, and the right design products, you'll actually see a decrease in the overall cost to run and manage a program. And for example, I've had customers that brought us in where their workers' comp and medical costs were over $2 to $3 million. And within 3 years, we've been able to get it for these huge customers under $100,000. So it really pays for itself. And using the tools to track the data, because a lot of times companies, when we ask them, you know, can you share with us how much you've spent related to office tools, from supplies, office supplies, from your IT department, from your furniture? Nobody has those numbers. And that's really the true spend of what it costs companies to run a program such as this. And we use those numbers as a way to also benchmark where they need to be a year from now. Customers always come to us and say, okay, E3, it appears that you met with over 1,000 of our employees. The overall spend this year was actually down. And we're pleasantly surprised to hear that. We also offer a lot of our programs, we try to utilize our customers' existing inventory. We have a number of customers that, you know, they maybe after 8 months, they ran out of money, or they have extra inventory due to layoffs, or maybe they shut down a building. And a lot of that ergo equipment we repurpose and redistribute on behalf of our customers. So it's very creative and innovative we're all becoming through these changing times.
Right.
A lot of my customers now, Rick, are actually asking me to create work from home chair standards based on the anthropometric measurements that you see right in front of you. And so it's a great way to keep the employee engaged. It's a great way knowing that if we have a stipend of $500 to make a chair purchase, we've actually taken physical measurements with the employee virtually to make sure the seat depth of the chair is going to be the right length for somebody that's 5 feet tall, or the seat back is going to be the right height for somebody that maybe is 6'4". So all these tools virtually is what's allowing us to actually make better decisions, recommendations, and purchases on behalf of the employee.
That's great that you're taking that kind of time and care to make sure that people are well taken care of in the home office environment. I can imagine, guys, that you're probably busier than ever these last couple of months. How many ergo evaluations are you doing on an average basis?
We almost stopped counting. We're over 200 plus. We are getting requests on a weekly basis now for us to do 1,000 a month for some of our bigger corporate clients. They want to start off with the 10-minute check-ins, and they have allocated extra money knowing that 20% of those people are going to need more of a longer, lengthy process. But they want to do the right thing, but also too, they want to take care of the people that are producing for them. And they are sharing with us that they have stipends and they want their employees to purchase the equipment that's really going to work for them. Because the thing that I've noticed, I've had clients that let employees buy whatever they wanted, And now they're in month 3 and we're getting the calls that the product they thought they purchased, it really isn't fitting the job and the body type of how they're currently set up. So
it's really interesting. I think as we headed into the pandemic a couple months ago, I think that there was a general notion that we would all be working from home simply to kind of push through to the other side until we got back to the office. And I think there's a realization right now that has crystallized amongst all of us that working from home is going to be part of the new normal in some way, shape, or form for just about everybody. The ability to work from home is there. We've all learned that, and I think striking a key balance between getting back to the physical workplace and identifying how best to be productive from home is going to be important for every individual and every organization to identify. But what you guys are doing is providing the tools to make sure that when people are working from home or from their office, not only are they avoiding carpal tunnel syndrome, but they're working in a manner that's going to maximize their productivity and really optimize the way that they work.
Absolutely. And, it's interesting. I have a client 12 months ago that said to me, we're thinking about maybe having our, certain department work from home full time. So we're going to pilot the concept. And then fast forward, COVID happened. And now customers are trying to figure out what type of jobs require on-site presence, which ones are essential. So it's another thing that we've noticed is that the workplace strategists that work for these big corporations are so focused right now of trying to make these necessary accommodations in their space. Like that right now has been their biggest focus of how we're going to bring these people back. How are we going to properly sanitize and prepare the return to work group, which could potentially be 50% or more. But nobody has really thought about the work from home strategy. And that's really where E3 has started to shine, is starting to partner closely with their strategy group. We're working, Rick, with the senior VPs of HR now, which we never had access to, helping them write their corporate communications and newsletters to provide employees at home what's going on and what this new work from home process looks like. So it's been an exciting time for our team, and we're really honored to be part of this collaborative effort.
Well, we've always enjoyed our partnership with you guys, Joy and Adam. You've been an important partner for us. And I think just before COVID hit, we had an opportunity to have you guys do a webinar with our staff. And I know our staff learned so much about how to approach their workplace from an ergonomic standpoint. And we've been using your tip cards ever since to use as part of our own collateral material. We've provided it to our customers as well. So really appreciate what you guys do. We appreciate the time that you've taken today to share your expertise and your experience with us. No doubt that the services that you provide are going to help a lot of people not only get through the current pandemic, but really maximize and optimize their efforts moving beyond it. So thank you guys. Thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely. It was our pleasure. Thank you, everybody.